Bodine52, how are you folks? You know, I'm really fortunate to have two motorcycles. This happens to be my 2000 Road King that we're going to go out and take a rip on. But you know what? There are some disadvantages to having two motorcycles. So you probably listen to that opening and will go, what's wrong with you, dude? So, work with me here. Let's walk through this, having two motorcycles being a problem. This idea and this thought started today when I opened up my email, and I got my annual motorcycle insurance bill times 2. So, yep, that's right. If you are new to the channel, I am fortunate enough to have two motorcycles. I have a 2021 Road King and Duke, my buddy, my 2020 Road King, or my 2000, Road King Classic. I'm just trying to make you feel younger, baby, that's all. And so I'm like, oh man, that kind of stinks. I gotta pay them both out. And I was like, man, there's gotta be some other disadvantages to having two motorcycles, right? Come on, I'm working up a story here, so stay with me on this one. So now, many people have multiple motorcycles, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe more, right? And there's some folks that have one motorcycle. And hey, that's all fine, right? I think that have multiple motorcycles, I feel very fortunate and humbled by that. Worked hard for it, but still, you know that you're appreciative of things you have. I think as you get older, you think about that a little bit more, but I was joking with my wife, Mrs. Bodine, and I was talking about, you know, it'd be really cool to have a Pan America, and her response was, as soon as I get my pool. So, no Pan America for me, no pool for me, because I'm from Michigan. I mean, how many months can you swim anyway, right? So you got to make sure if you're going to buy a second motorcycle that you have some sort of buy-in with your spouse. Now, you can say, I'll get what I want. She or he'll have to deal with it. But, you know, like they say for us guys, happy wife, happy life. Which, by the way, that saying came from a woman. Just saying. I think. I mean, let's figure out where that did come from, right? So, you got to make sure that you definitely have some buy-in, because you don't want mama or papa unhappy with you, and then every time you're riding that bike, you know, you're like, hey. So the next thing is, you got to make sure you have room for it. Now, people have to keep their bike in different places. I fortunately have a garage I can keep a second motorcycle in, so that's good, but I have a trade-off. I keep my truck outside because of it, right? Some folks live in a place where they don't have a garage, so they have to park it, you know, outside, so having multiple motorcycles may actually be a problem, like this guy pulling out in front of me, right? You know, some people who are smart and have a great life just pull it in their house, right? Like I keep continuing to try to get my wife to do. So I guess there's a disadvantage to having two motorcycles, especially if you don't have a place to put them, right? Because you'll go to hell if you buy two motorcycles and don't have a place to put it. By the way, if you follow my channel, is the Hell, Michigan joke getting old or what? Because you know I love riding by Hell, Michigan, and that's what I'm going to do right now. So that's definitely a disadvantage. Now, this sounds silly, and you can just put in the comments, silly. Just one word, silly, if you think this is silly. Since I have a newer bike as well, I don't ride Duke, the King, as much as I should. And I sometimes feel a little guilty. Sounds ridiculous, but, you know, I like riding the newer bike, and every time I get out on the Road King, I'm just like, man, I got to ride more. Look at this situation here. That's right, folks. You stay right where you're at, because the King's coming through. So, you know, sometimes you're like, man, I got to get the Road King on. Man, I don't ride them both enough. Does it make sense? Blah, blah, blah. You know, you're like, come on. You know, so that makes it difficult. So that's what, 4 things right there on the is having two bikes really a good thing? And then the other one is, hey, it's expensive. It's more money, right? So I was fortunate to trade basically a quad and a little bit of cash for this bike. So it really didn't cost me a ton of money. Yeah, I could have sold my quad and had that extra cash. So it still cost me, but at the end of the day, I rode my quad once or twice a year, and I ride this thing, once a week. So why, so it's a good deal for me, but it's expensive. Now, I happen to have a newer bike and an older used bike. Howdy, buddy. And that works for me. One, because I couldn't afford having two brand new bikes, and two, I don't know that always makes sense. So, I know some folks that have multiple bikes may have two used bikes because, sometimes you just can't afford multiple bikes. You got everything you got in your one bike, and so you just realistically can't have two motorcycles. If you're able and fortunate to have more than one, hey, that's super cool. But that's not kind of how the way it is for everyone, right? So that isn't a disadvantage to have in a second motorcycle. It's just more money that you may or may not have, or more money you want to put somewhere else, which I'm not sure where that would be, but it's expensive. And then of course you have to maintain it, especially if you buy a second bike that's older. You're going to have to put some money into it. Now, if you can work on your bike, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10 being a motorcycle mechanic and 1 not knowing where the gas tank is, I'm probably a 4. So I do have I do have the ability to do some work on my motorcycle, but not a ton. So there are times, cam tensioners as an example, I had to have somebody come do that, or I had to pay somebody to do that, right? So it definitely is more money that you're going to have to pay in maintenance and potentially repairs. And then, I guess some people have, like I said, two used motorcycles that kind of, I guess would help that, payment, or having, the pay for two bikes. I guess that would help that, but you're still going to have the maintenance and all that stuff. So we are going through Hill, Michigan, if you've never been here before. But, so there are disadvantages to having two motorcycles. Now, all of that said, my justification didn't work, did it? Heck no! Having two motorcycles is freaking great! If you can find a way to do it somehow. Maybe you have a 4 or 5 year old bike and you're like, I'm just going to upgrade it to the newer model. Maybe you keep that motorcycle. I'm talking to a buddy now who's the same way. He's like, I want to upgrade my bike, but I love mine. Maybe I'll just get a second one. And, it's like, that's even better, right? So having two motorcycles is cool. Now, for me, the Road King I tour with, and I like to ride. I'm not going to kid. I do ride it around town some. But most of the time, if I'm just flipping through some of these back roads, I love just riding this bike. It's lighter. It's, it's just got that rumble. All the good things about an older, cooler bike is you can just have something to kind of run around town in. And I like that. You don't have to pull out the 950-pound, monster to just get on and rip. Now, this old Road King definitely needs her bones started and run for a while before you you get out on her. But just the sound and just having something that's different. For me, I could not see, and a lot of people say, hey, a Road King is a touring bike. Reality is I would not tour long distances on this bike. That's just me. Some people would. And as you can see, I've my last video on this bike, I had a Clockworks shield on it, and I just prefer running naked and without a shield. So, but it's just nice to have a variety. I couldn't see getting the same type of bike. Now, I have a buddy, he goes by the name of Bronco Ride. If you follow my channel, I'm sure you know him. We're good friends. He just bought a Pan America, And he also has a Street Glide. So he has an ADV. What the heck is that guy doing? He also has an ADV now and his Street Glide. Now, by the way, I would tell you, you got to go check him out. I'm going to leave a link to his channel, Bronco Ride, because he is starting to do some reviews and rides on his new Pan America. It's just really good stuff. It's a really cool bike, and he just does an amazing job talking about it. I know the future of what he's going to show is even better. So, why aren't these people working? Oh, I guess they are working. And just the advantage of again, being able to have a second bike is really cool. So I think in hindsight, if I wasn't fortunate enough to be able to kind of trade, find a bike that I liked and work out a trade, I probably would have tried to find a way to save some money and pick this up. I've been looking for a Road King for a long time, for at least for a couple years. Or I would have not traded in my 2018 and upgraded to a 2021 newer motorcycle, right? So, isn't this road cool, by the way? If you don't catch a deer flying through here, you're usually in pretty good shape. So, I don't know. There are some disadvantages to having two bikes, especially from an expense perspective. But you know what? At the end of the day, it is really awesome. So, I'd like to get your thoughts on, hey, if you have multiple bikes, what's your philosophy there? Do you are you riding them equally? Do you have different types of second bikes? Was it hard for you to pull the trigger? Just maybe help some folks that are like, hey, I really want a second bike, but I'm not sure I can really handle it. So I don't know. I would love to hear your comments, and as always, I appreciate you popping in the channel. I've been fortunate to have a ton of new folks join. Thank you for that. Definitely appreciate you, and look forward to continuing to put some motorcycle content out for everybody, and just continue the great riding hobby that we all have. Continue making friends, as I've made so many on the channel, and so many new ones that I'm talking to now. Makes this really cool. Plus, I need to talk to myself anyway, so I might as well strap it on my helmet. That's it, folks, for me. Be safe out there. This is Bodine52 checking out. Check on a friend, ride safe, be vigilant, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.